It starts off a little slow, but by the end of it, I was like, this was really dope. Hello, welcome to Just My Thoughts. I'm your host, Khaleel Ward. On this episode, I'll be talking about the Netflix movie Uprising. It is a Korean military movie. It's about 2 hours. I watched it in Korean. You can watch it in English if you choose, but it was just working for me in Korean. I'm not going to butcher anybody's name, so I will be calling one character C and I'll be calling the other character J. Early on, we are introduced to C. He is a slave, but he got captured. They mentioned it's the second time he's tried to escape. And then we get a flashback and we see C when he's younger and he's with his dad. And it was something where like his mom was a slave, and then they're like, well, so the kid is a slave as well. And the guy purchases him from his father. And you can see that C is very stubborn. He's not listening to the guy, and the guy's trying to explain he's going to stay at this, fancy place, and the master has all these different slaves that do all these different things, and C is like, okay, whatever. So much so when they get there, he doesn't even bow when the master comes out. He does see the guy he's going to replace, because the guy he's going to replace is dying. And C's job is to basically stand there as they watch the young master practice, and the headmaster just whips him. He gets a stick out and he just keeps slashing at his legs, and to a point where C is like, I'm done with this. I'm getting out of here. And as he prepares to leave, he sees the young master, and they're similar in age. And the young master gives him food, and the young master is talking to him like he's a person, even though he's a slave or whatever. And C is just like, I'm not gonna follow you. And he's a little bit older. He's like, I'm out of here. And he just hops the wall and he goes home. And he gets there and he sees his father is dead. They hung his father, and he's a kid, he's crying, and they capture him. They bring him right back to the thing. And he's like, he starts watching the young master train again. He gets lashed again, and then he goes to him at night. He's like, listen, your trainer is doing the same thing. If you can fight back, I won't get hit. So I need you to do better. And then you see the young master starts to do a little better, and the headmaster's looking like, okay. So he allows the young master to train with C, and they become, best friends. They get really close, and then it just, you see them grow up together and they're still training. Now J is the young master, and he's really happy to have C, just like his brother, but he's not as good as C when it comes to fighting and things like that. And it gets to a point where he has to take this test, and he keeps failing the test. It's like this military thing that his father did and his grandfather did, and he keeps failing. And his father is disappointed in him. And they come to this agreement that if C does this big favor for him, he can get his freedom. And Jay is like, yeah, sure, my dad will give you your papers. Don't worry about it. The father does not want to give C his papers. So C runs away again. And that's like where we end up, where he gets captured again. And you start seeing that C is very upset at Jay for not, having his father keep his word of giving him his freedom. And it gets to a point where Jay is in this position because of C, but he doesn't want to give him any credit. And then the slaves around Jay revolt, and they burn down the palace where Jay is staying. But Jay had left on an assignment because they're getting ready for war. The Japanese are attacking them. So Jay is out on assignment, and all the slaves ransack the palace. They take over. They start killing Jay's family, his father, his mother, his wife, his kid. And C is there, but C is tied up. And he doesn't know what's going on. When he wakes up, it's a fire. So all he does is grab like a robe and a sword and his horse, and he just goes about his way. So it gets back to Jay that his family is dead. You could see the fire. So now Jay is pissed off at C because he's like, he killed my family. I'm going to kill him. C, on the other hand, he ends up with these other slaves, and the Japanese are attacking. So they're like, hey, we need to do something about this. We gotta protect our land. We gotta fight. And C becomes this hero as he's fighting the Japanese, and he's holding his own. And they're like, yo, what's your name? And he's like, I ain't got no name. It's not important. And he's doing his thing. And it becomes like C becomes this hero figure. And then it goes 7 years later. And that's like the gist of the story, where you have these two friends end up on opposing sides, after all this chaos ensues and this war ensues, and now C is kind of looked at as a hero, while J is still close to the king and everything, but he's not the hero. He's not who his father wanted him to be. J is upset at C for everything that went down, and throughout the years they do come across each other again. And like I said, it started out a little slow because it starts off with C older, then it jumps back to when he's younger, then it jumps back to when he's older again. So after they stay in like present day, and then you start getting more of the story, and you start seeing what C had to go through, and you start seeing his skills in combat and how people rally behind him. You're like, oh, I like this guy. And all the while Jay is seething, like he's looking for him badly to kill him for what happened with his family. And by the end of it, I was like, this was a really well done story, because it's about found family, it's about friendship, betrayal, and things like that. And the fighting was pretty well done too. When C gets to fight, even when Jay gets to fight, against the Japanese soldiers and things like that. And then there's this final battle that happens, and I wasn't expecting it. It wasn't a regular duel that you usually see at the end of a movie like this. It was something different, and it was shot really well, and the action was really well done, and I had a good time with it. It's called Uprising. It's on Netflix. Again, it's 2 hours, but it's worth the time. If you've seen the movie, let me know what you thought about it. Thank you for watching. Thank you.